Okay, it is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2020. We'll call a meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Minutes and reports received and filed.
We have February 2020 clerk fees filed and February 2020 recorder fees.
Okay. Commissioner Committee Liaison Reports, upcoming meetings and events.
You don't have any?
I do.
I show a Salute to America meeting tomorrow, but I'm not sure that's right. Polk County Community is Thursday morning at 7. Local planning meeting at 1 on Thursday. That's about it. Well,
Okay.
I got a Cole County Employee Handbook meeting Monday,
Yes.
and then a pre-trial meeting Monday at 11:30 at city, down at JCPD training room, so that's all.
Tomorrow, we are having a census job fair at Lincoln University from 11 to 2 at Scruggs and the Lincoln. I'll talk about that later when we get down to the census update. Thursday's communities. Friday, I've got a meeting at Central Bank with my cohorts from Boone and Callaway County on the bicentennial at 11. And then we're meeting with Governor Parson at 1. Sunday is St. Thomas Country Ham breakfast. We're moved our Tuesday meeting to Thursday because there's a women's market in Kansas City on Tuesday. Wednesday is the Chamber Steering Committee. It's from 7:30 to 9:30, and then a census meeting at 10:30. So that's all I got. You think? You're not gonna talk? Okay. Okay. We'll go to bids and contracts. Signing of Axon Sole Source.
This was approved in February to run in the paper, so it's been ran and we're just needing a signature. It's for the tasers and taser supplies for the sheriff's department. Just a sign.
I move that we sign the sole source request form for Axum Enterprises.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Signing of CNC Group Sole Source.
This was for Greg with maintenance on the HVAC stuff. This was approved back in February to run in the paper, so this is just signing of the form.
Okay. I move that we sign the sole source request form for CNC Group.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Signing of Accurate Controls Inc. Sole Source.
This is the same as those. It was ran in the paper in February. It's for the security supplies for the sheriff's department. And it was ran in the paper and it's just needing a signature.
I move that we sign the sole source request form for Accurate Controls.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Renewal of EMS vehicle fleet maintenance and repair services.
I'm recommending that we stay with these vendors for another year. It was a 2018-39 and this is renewal 1. There's 4 vendors. It was Donnie Bronze, Joe Mawkins, McKnight, and Shepherd's. All their prices have remained the same from the previous year. I'm just recommending to stay with them.
So are we just doing lowest and best with availability?
Mhm.
Okay. I move that we approve the EMS vehicle fleet maintenance and repair services to the lowest and best with availability.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, signing of the Zoll Medical Corps sole source and approval of maintenance contract.
Jill has the contract for it, but then I have the sole source request form that needs to be signed. It was approved and ready ran in the paper.
So are we doing 2 different things here? We're signing the sole source form and then we're signing
And
the
then the
contract.
contract.
Questions? I move that we sign the sole source request form for Zoll Medical Group.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. It's just about preventative maintenance contract.
That's the contract. Yeah.
I move that we sign the preventative maintenance contract with Zoll.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, discussion of economic development contract.
Okay, so I put this on here and we got Matt Alsager and John Nations to talk about that a little bit, and then you should have a copy in front of you. Welcome. Yep, we got copies up here. So.
Thanks for letting us come and chat with you guys.
No problem.
New face, new name, same face, hopefully younger. But anyway, so, you know, we spent the last, so to first start out, and I'll let John introduce himself here in a little bit. In 2019, John left Bi-State Development and joined Evans Dixon in their economic development practice. And about the middle part of the year, our two firms decided that we need to start a joint venture to handle economic development, regional logistics, transportation issues, similar to what we're doing here in Cole County. You know, there's been a lot of discussion with the city and the chamber. They brought Market Street on to talk about, you know, how do we look at this? So ironically, 7 months ago, I started talking to Chris about what is about a regional approach to this, because anything that's good for the city is good for the county and vice versa. At the same time, the group that the chamber and city contracted with, Market Street, was having the same discussion. So I said, look, we're having the same conversations, we're in different rooms. Let's look at 2020. If we're shifting the focus of everything, let's come all in the same room, come to the table. Market Street's done a great job of analyzing how this should look. We want to help implement that. You know, we want to help implement, what does a regional council look like? You know, what are the short-term goals? What are the long-term goals? So with that, you know, we look at the last 12 months of what are the strategic assets that this community has. Our airport and port, and I believe they can work simultaneously together. And here's why. And John can get into kind of the more, you know, macro approach, but transportation and logistics has changed dramatically in the last 10 years, and it's just only gonna change. Inland waterway infrastructure is where the Midwest is going, and I believe that Jefferson City and Missouri is in a key opportunity to be a driving force in that. And so those are some of the short-term deliverables I really believe that can really take our community to the next level. We're at a pivotal moment where we're making a pivot, and so let's all come to the table and agree and pivot together. So that's kind of why we've entered into this joint venture between my firm and John's firm. So I'll let John introduce himself and kind of give his background.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. My name is John Nations. I am a lawyer with the firm of Evans and Dixon. Quickly on my background, I've been an economic development lawyer for about a little more than 30 years. Most notably, after the flood in 1993, I was chairman of the TIF district and head of the Industrial Development Authority for the city of Chesterfield when we rebuilt the valley. Actually built it really wasn't built before, so we built it. I was ultimately a member of the Planning Commission, the City Council, and was elected mayor of the city of Chesterfield 3 times. I was recruited away from being mayor to be the president and CEO of Bi-State Development in St. Louis, which is about a $450 million a year company that provides economic development services in a 7-county area on both Illinois and Missouri. All of that, the reason I was recruited was because of my economic development experience. We took Bi-State A to the top in terms of reliability and dependability as far as the public transit side, but more importantly on the economic development side is where we started the St. Louis Regional Freightway and some other freight and logistics. What you're seeing in the heartland of this country is a revolution in terms of technology and opportunities with regard to freight and logistics and ports and transporting everything. My relationship with Polaris and the members of Polaris and the related firm of Victory Enterprises and Evans goes back more than a decade. I've worked with the people from Victory for over a decade. They're friends of mine. We've worked together. And so when I look at what they were doing and with what I was doing, it's an opportunity for us to bring the strengths and opportunities of both of our firms to provide better services to our clients. So if you take this contract, Matt's been doing a tremendous job for you on the economic development side. What this contract really allows just us to do is really for the same price and for the same contract, add my background and Evans and Dixon, which is a regional law firm with offices across the state of Missouri and also in Kansas and Nebraska, to enhance our services in order to help Cole County and Jefferson City and anything else that we might be able to do for you. I agree with Matt. When we started talking about Jefferson City, I don't live here. I live over in Chesterfield, obviously. But I've been coming to Jefferson City since the 1970s, and I always view it as an opportunity. And when you look at what's going on kind of macro across the heartland of America, you got Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas all looking at Missouri as the key because of the inland waterway structure. You got the first and third largest rail yards in the country in St. Louis and Kansas City. St. Louis itself is the second busiest inland port in the United States now. The partnerships between St. Louis and Kansas City, but here, we're in the heartland of the state where you have tremendous opportunity. And when you have a situation where you have our farmers who are having increasing difficulty moving the harvest, I view the whole thing as a tremendous opportunity. Your airport, your port, not just in Jefferson City and not just in Cole County or Callaway County, these are the assets that people are looking at not only across Missouri and across the heartland, but across the country. And so we believe, Matt and I working together and our firms working together through the joint venture of the Polaris Strategies Group, we can bring enhanced opportunities and opportunities for Cole County over the next year. That's what we'd like to do.
Questions? Want to write them down?
I really think that,
Just teasing you.
yeah, we're at a very, look, change is tough, I get it. I totally understand. But we're at a crossroads of really being able to team together and look at the longevity of Jefferson City and Cole County and this whole region, and I truly, and that's the thing, it's just like, we're, in our proposal is just a month-to-month basis, because let's say in 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 months, the regional, everyone decides that a regional council is the way to go. We've done our job. Our job was to come in, analyze, look at the region, the strategic assets, and bolster those. And I truly believe that our airport and port are simultaneously hooked together, And we'll never be St. Louis and we'll never be Kansas City. I truly understand that. But we can be a complement to the both, And that's just, the last, 12 months, just looking at everything, I truly believe that, this is the right opportunity to set the course for the next decade.
So you're looking at the regional area as well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because that's, with the steering committee and the meetings we're having there, that's what the chambers
Right.
is doing too. So can we work together?
That's my point is,
Okay.
we want to work with,
Okay,
we've talked about this, the steering committee is kind of talking about the same regional aspect. I've kind of proposed about 7 months ago this regional conversation. So we're having the same conversation, we're in two different rooms. Let's, our proposal is myself and John coming in and not taking over what Market Street's done, but helping implement what Market Street's proposed.
So when you look at things regionally, whether jobs are created in Osage County or Callaway County or whatever, people are still shopping here in Cole County, and even if that's Columbia or whatever, a lot of times those people are moving to Jefferson City or Cole County, or where do they want to live? What school district do they want to be in? And so we just got to get outside of the focus of Jefferson City or Cole County. What's good for the region obviously benefits everyone, and so similar to what we did with our grant program with our communities. So when our communities are strong, it helps everybody. When those communities are struggling, obviously that becomes a burden on Cole County at some point, just like Eugene did when they disincorporated. So you know, we've talked to technical colleges that are looking at Ashland. Well, that's a benefit to, you know, Cole County as well. So, you know, State Technical College, great asset. You know, it's in Osage County, but so what? You know, it helps everybody, helps employers here in Cole County. So I just think it's a better way to look at things. I mean, obviously, if we can help each other out, it benefits all of us, so.
And if I may, the commissioner said it very well, on a broader scale, you know, what's interesting is often you see different parts of the state competing with each other. The freight and logistics and the movement of things and the development of ports is maybe the only issue that I know of that brings everybody together over at the State House. I have literally been walking down the hall at the State House, been grabbed by a representative or a senator and say, "What are you doing this afternoon?" And I say, "I don't know what you want me to do." They want you to come, and they say, "Come testify in front of our committee." And then when you start talking about bringing Kansas City and St. Louis, then everybody says, "Okay, what about the rest of the state?" Because it requires everybody. So it's not just even Jefferson City, it's Cole County, it's the state of Missouri that's saying, we have a tremendous opportunity. What's also interesting about that is I can sit in meetings in Des Moines and Omaha and Topeka, as I have, and they all point to the state of Missouri as the key to the heartland. We have been working over the last year or so, even with members of our congressional delegation across multiple states and the United States senators from all those states, to bring these issues to the forefront. There are opportunities that are arising across this country, partly because of technology, which is a big deal, but also because of the new Panama Canal, which opened in June of 2016. And you're seeing increasing investments in the ports in the Gulf, a lot of investment in the southeastern United States as well. And these are going to create opportunities in the heartland of this country. Most people don't realize that the way the country is kind of supplied, the east-west dividing line is really over east of Indianapolis. St. Louis, Chicago are really supplied by the West Coast. Now everybody's looking at an opportunity as to how we shift that line to the west, how we bring those opportunities up the river and into the heartland, and also, very critically, how do we move the harvest? What doesn't get enough attention is moving the harvest in the heartland. The farmers are becoming much more efficient, but the transportation networks are not. And that's getting a lot of attention. When you have 140 unit trains backed up in the Pacific Northwest because they can't unload the harvest even out to the Pacific Northwest, that's an issue. When you got the harvest being blown up in silos and flooding in May, it's a navigation, it's a flood control issue. The other part of it is, why is the harvest still in the silos in May of the following year? So there's a micro issue that we believe we can help with that's also presenting an opportunity on a tremendous macro basis for the heartland of the country.
Yeah, I get a lot of reps in the store, and Rudy Veet's doing a great job. They call it Rudy's Land Grab. And I said, you know, I don't care what you call it, just vote for it. So, but Rudy, I've heard that about 3 times now. And so yeah, Rudy's Land Grab, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and that's gaining, I mean, it's gaining a lot of support and a lot
Yeah.
of attention because, you know, even our statewide lawmakers believe that inland waterway infrastructure, i.e. ports, are the next superhighway, if you will.
Well, that the military is looking at America's maritime highways, is what they call them, and it's
And how fast this is going? 5 years ago, when we were working on this, there was a concept of putting those 20-foot equivalent unit containers that you see on trucks and on ships on the river, and people said, it's never gonna work. It's never gonna be financially feasible. The economic model's never gonna work. Now it is financially feasible. And you have investors who are willing to invest in it and create the multimodal port in order to support it. So we're living in changing and dynamic times, I'll tell you.
Well, and the amount of, the size of the boats bringing containers over has grown substantially. I mean, I don't remember what the number was, 24,000 or something on a boat?
The new Supermax ships
Yeah.
are bringing 24,000
Yeah.
containers.
And so, you know, the logistics of it is that they want the containers back empty because they can get them fuller faster and get them back here to the United States. So we're shipping 220 cars going back to the West Coast, empty,
Yeah.
full of containers, empty, just so they can load them up, put them on a ship, take them back, fill them back up.
You know, the amazing thing, you look at some of the things that are going on, you've got corn and soybeans blown up in silos in the Midwest. While the United States is importing corn and soybeans from Argentina and Brazil into the southeastern United States because it's cheaper. You don't have to do a lot of study on that to figure out there's an opportunity in there somewhere. Why is it cheaper to bring them from Argentina and Brazil into the ports in the southeastern United States than to get the harvest out of the farmland of the upper Midwest? The heartland of America is the largest contiguous agricultural plain on the planet, and it's also become the most efficient. And the question is, if we're gonna prosper, how do we move it? That's why when Matt and I started talking a year ago, he starts talking about Jefferson City and Cole County and this passion that he has for it. It's like, man, this fits into a broader thing that we're working on that could really be beautiful for everybody involved. And that's how we end up getting together.
Any questions, Jeff?
So we got the contract with Victory Group, right?
Mhm. Yeah, this is a merger of Victory and Evans Dixon, and so still a professional service, and it just benefits us even more.
It's over and above the Victory Group contract?
No, it's the exact same.
It's just changing the names.
Yep.
And bring in more services.
Right.
So
The
then
second
what are we
contract at
having
the same
to
price.
approve?
Well, we just, we have to approve a yearly contract in order to make payment, so.
And to be clear, Jeff, or Commissioner Helcher, this is we want to look at a month to month, because, you know, what our.
Okay, I think I guess mine was more concerned with the semantics of it all, because we've got to contract with Victory Group, or I guess we don't.
Well, we haven't renewed it for 2020 yet.
Okay.
So, because they were working on this, this arrangement.
Right, and
Okay.
yeah, the reason we're a little sluggish is we're finishing up our merger, and, you know, we were talking, it's, once Market Street kind of presented this whole regional plan, I said, look, I mean, we're having the same conversation, you know, let's all sit this, you know, let's.
And just changing
Yeah.
the name and maybe a little bit of,
Right, and things may
Scope.
change during the year or something, so it's a month-to-month contract, and
Okay.
if they give us a recommendation to move into doing something different, you know, we can work on that, so we can
just
act
make
on
sure
that.
we're not signing a contract without bidding it out with
Right.
somebody totally different.
Right,
So,
No, it's,
we're good with it?
yep,
Okay.
yep, it's just
That
professional
was
service.
really my only concern.
Randy, can we work with you?
Sure. I just have one question. Has this contract been publicly vetted? I mean, it looks, is there copies that are available to the
Sure.
public?
Yeah. And we're more than happy to submit, to bid on it as well.
Right,
Well, I mean, I was fine sticking
Right.
with Victory Group going a second year,
right,
but I didn't know how this worked with it.
mm-hmm,
So it's the same people, you're just kind of changing the names and
right,
some partners or whatever, as
Yeah,
long as
no,
we're good.
it's really, you know, as, you know, John's talents, my talents, our firm's talents, we've decided that, you know, that this is the right, this is a good venture for both of our firms, and obviously handles situations like, or not situations, but scopes of services as far as economic development, freight logistics, transportation.
I think expanding our realm makes sense, because really, most of the economic development that has taken place in 2019 is private development. I mean, you look at the farmers, you look at the Camp Peters and Mid-America Bank over there. I think, you know, we haven't really had any big wins
Right.
last year other than private.
Right, and that's the thing, is just, you know, if we're talking about regional focus, we want to help the steering committee in that effort on behalf of the county. And getting a regional council stood up, you know, short-term goals, long-term goals, that's a joint conversation, that's not just us talking. You know, let's facilitate setting the course for the next decade. So at the end of the day, we just want to help.
sure.
Okay, Randy?
I just have one more point of clarification. The contract currently is it's with Capital Strategic Consulting.
We were a subcontractor with strategic capital.
Right, this is with Polaris Strategies Group LC. Doesn't say anything in here about,
It's a merger with the Victory Group. So it's the same thing as a merger or an acquisition in other contracts when you have the assignment provision.
I mean, I think that would be my concern too, to make sure that that's all on the up and up. So,
is this something that needs to be go out for proposals?
Yeah. It's a professional service, so it's not required to be.
Just seems a little bit like a bait and switch, but from my perspective.
I don't think it's a bait and switch at all. I mean, we're getting more services for the same amount of money, so, I mean, we separated the contracts for strategic. They're doing the lobbying portion of it. Victory had done the economic development portion of it. So, anyway, I mean, obviously Victory and Evans Dixon are coming together. We're getting more services for the same money, so, you know, there's no increase in cost.
With all due respect, all the provisions that Victory was supposed to do in the previous contract are nowhere to be found in this. It's a total change of scope.
Well, it's a change of scope because the entire region is looking at a change of scope. So we're saying instead of two groups focusing on the same effort, let's come together and focus on it together. If they're talking about a regional economic, and again, like, I'm not sure what the steering committee, but those are from what steering committee members have told me is that they're looking at this as a regional effort. I was proposing a regional effort, so versus having two separate conversations, having one. Is that?
Would you agree that a lot of the provisions in the economic development part of the original contract are not in here?
Right, but
This
the
is
entire
a,
economic development is being looked at.
I mean, if you want to address questions, address them to us. I mean, obviously, they're here for a discussion of this, and so, I mean, if you want to discuss this outside of our chambers here, that's for you guys to do, but, I mean, or if you have, we're not going to vote on this today, but if you have things for us, I mean, that's fine, but we use Victory to give us direction and leadership and tell us where we needed to go, and that's what they're doing here today.
along that line though, the stuff that was in the earlier contract too is not in here, which I still want them focused on Cole County.
And that's why we're talking about it today, so.
And this is an added benefit to it, so
Right.
that's why I'm seeing it. And I don't know, maybe you and I weren't seeing it that way either at first. It was same but different, so.
Right.
That
Well,
was, that
I
was,
mean,
it
any-
is one of my concerns too, and.
So, like I said, this is discussion. Anything that you want added in there, I mean, I'm sure they're willing to add those services and probably already just figured they were gonna be doing those anyway, but if you want it in the contract, I don't see that there's
And I-
gonna be an objection there.
I mean, that's one of the things that was brought up when we first contracted with y'all was, the argument was, you don't wanna have different silos over here doing their thing and these guys over here doing their thing. But sometimes you don't want all your eggs in one basket, and if we got people coming at it from different directions, different questions, different perspectives, you know, it might not be a bad thing, so.
Yeah, and again, to be clear.
Still willing to keep going that direction.
Sure. So, to address some, okay, so last year's contract had different deliverables and different focuses, okay? Through that, and through the Chamber and City bringing up Market Street and kind of looking at how do we do economic development? And again, like, I'm not privy to those, I've just, from my conversations with different committee members, it's, if we're looking at this regionally, the scope of services have changed because, you know, our proposal is to, you know, help, not help, but to represent the county in implementing what a regional council could look like. And that's conversations with, you know, that's just our professional side and conversations with the steering committee. Again, this is I want this to be a joint effort between both steering committee and us.
Yeah, well, that's what I don't want two different factions pursuing the same thing, because we're just gonna bump into each other. So, you know, if it's, you know, working, bless you, you know, working with the chamber on their regional, you know, then I'm fine with that. You know, we need help. We need to make some changes. We need to bring more things in, so.
And in my opinion, that's, you know, I mean, John has 30 years of experience specifically in, you know, working on a regional basis of managing bi-state.
Anything else?
I don't have anything else specific right now, just kind of want to look at our original contract and let's
we're-
try to
We're open for conversation.
incorporate that together. Because while I agree on looking at it regionally, man, I'm taking care of myself first, you know?
Right.
Okay.
So any comments that you got or something, I can forward them on to Matt or?
Yeah, I don't have anything specific. I mean,
Okay.
you just want to see wins around here and stuff. There's a few things going on around here and a few restaurants here and there, but
Well, and that's kind of why I think our community is going through some change, and setting that change and setting that long-term, short-term deliverables are really where it's at. I truly believe that Jefferson City can be a key player in inland waterway infrastructure.
I'm curious to see what the difference is between Market Street and the TIP strategies from 10 years ago. What kind of differences they're gonna be. It's Jeff City, Cole County is just kind of a place that's kind of happy, just being happy. I mean, we don't want to be Columbia. Sure as hell don't want to be Columbia. So, I mean, they almost don't want to grow, if that makes sense. But
I think it's the right growth. You know, I think it's looking at it as, you know, is what, you know, growth, in my opinion, is looking within. You know, as Sandy alluded to, a lot of our growth has been private. But there's a lot of conversations happening, and I just think that we can provide tremendous value in those conversations. Like I said, Market Street's done a great job on analyzing kind of where Jefferson City is and where it should go. We just want to help in that effort.
Agree.
Well, I mean, we should have a seat at the table anyway. If you're not at the table, you're on the damn menu, so, I mean, we should be at the table doing something, so. We were invited to meet with Market, sit with them, and that's about the only other invitation that I had. I don't know if you've been there.
We've got a meeting the 11th?
Mr. Bushman is on the steering committee.
Yes.
Well, cool. Have fun. I don't know.
Yeah,
We used to be invited
we're
to
all
all of
welcome.
them.
We're all welcome, so. And
I
those
have
aren't-
not had an invitation, so.
Those aren't public meetings. I mean, they are public meetings, but they don't necessarily have to be. What's the word I'm looking for? Just because we're all there doesn't mean that they have to be advertised or whatever, so. Anyway, well, gentlemen, thank you for coming today, and we'll get back with you.
Sure. If you have any questions, just let us know.
We'll get this approved next week, so.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Do we have any unfinished business? Okay, new business. Accounts payable review.
I'd ask for approval of accounts payable pending review.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Environmental fee structure discussion. Quick, get it before no bombs or anything.
I wrote some
Don't
stuff
say
down
that.
a little bit on
Quit
that.
saying that, Sam.
So, a couple weeks ago, we came in and talked about our fees and increasing the, and on-site wastewater
And
treatment system fees.
Sent that to
Right.
HBA lobbyist there. and
Right.
He sent it out. I don't know if you got contacted or anything.
I did not receive
Okay.
any comments back.
I think everything's okay.
Okay.
It was reasonable, so I just wanted to run it by him, so I appreciate that. Thanks for that extra time on it.
So we would just ask for approval of the fee structure as presented 2 weeks ago.
Okay. I move that we approve the fee structure for, is this just for, on-site, okay, for on-site sewage treatment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we'll probably go ahead and make that effective April 1st. That way it gives maybe we'll send out a letter, or start telling our installers. I mean, they contact us pretty regularly for systems, so that way people know. Okay?
Okay, so
Okay.
were you coming back with, food?
You guys approved that the last time.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we
awesome.
got that one okayed the
Okay.
last time. and-
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, renewal of policy text description for EMS and Health Department.
So we're asking to renew, we did this last year, and Christy and I's departments are allocating those costs, so both of us have a stake in that. This is what helps us with our accreditation process, and helps push out policies and procedures to our employees, helps track minutes and meetings, all those types of things. So it's a good repository for us to be able to have for our employees to keep everything together. It's one of the things accrediting agencies look for. So we're asking to renew it.
I'm fine with it.
Okay. I move that we sign the First Amendment to the Master Services Agreement with Navex Global.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay. Census update. Melissa has been doing a heck of a job, she and Katrina with the city, on handling our census joint committee between city and county. But she is out with the flu today. So I emailed her, and so I've got just a couple things. We are having a job fair tomorrow at Lincoln University from 11 to 2. Student union, we're trying to get some students to sign on as census workers, and we're also doing it at the link in room 201. We need a little over 600 people to help take the census for those who don't respond by email or by phone. So we're, I think, about 75 people short. So this is trying to fill all of our slots so that after the census, those people that don't respond, we will call on them, knock on their door, and have them fill that out. And then I want to remind everybody there's going to be a postcard in the mail from the Census Bureau about the middle of March. Everybody will get one, and it's going to tell you how you can do the census online, how you can do it by phone. And, we're getting so much political postcards and stuff, don't throw it away. Keep it and read it. And if you can, do the census online. It's 9 questions. That's all it is. They do not ask for your social security number. They do not ask for any of your bank information. They do, I think, question 4 asks for your phone number, but everything is kept totally confidential. It's not shared with any other government agencies, and it is just for census purposes. In 1820, when we became a county, we had 1,028 citizens in Cole County. So can you imagine trying to take a census back then? But please, take the time to answer those 9 questions, and that's how we get our congressional seats and federal money and things like that. So that is all I have there. And since our judge is here,
When will those cards be coming out?
well, March 12th is the date they're saying that they will be mailed. So I'm just saying somewhere around the middle of March, because I mailed a birthday card to Carolyn McDowell here in Jeff City. It took 4 days to get to her. So I'm not saying our mail service is the fastest, But it will be a postcard, and don't throw it away thinking it's a political ad or anything.
So you just do it online?
That's what we're hoping, is the
And how do
majority
they
of people
verify
will do
that?
it online.
How do they verify that? I mean, I want more congressional members. I'm gonna say I got 22 kids.
You might.
I mean, what's keep people from lying on there?
I don't know.
There is a verification process they go through. It's not, they don't just come up and you say you have 20 kids, then they go and verify that with other records. So they do follow up on that.
And what it is the number of people that are residing at your home on April 1st. So
have a
like
bunch
your,
of visitors
like
that
your
day.
boy, like your boys,
I'd still argue.
they're away at school, you don't put down your sons because they will be counted where they are. But anybody who is living with you, is under your roof on April 1st, those people need to
They
be
do live
counted.
with me. They're just going to school in St. Louis and Marshall.
They will be counted in St. Louis and Marshall.
There's a
That's
question.
not
there's
the
a-
way it should be.
The
They
questionnaire.
actually live here.
The questionnaire that you get, it spells out the definition of what they consider residency and all that. It's really good about
Sorry,
being, you're gonna complicate things, Jim. And I can't understand about every other word you're saying anyway, but
I mean, how do you know you don't count somebody then?
Well, the whole idea is that we want to count everybody that legally can be counted. How's that?
But if somebody's not counted, how do you know they're not counted if you go and find them?
Well,
Are you gonna get the trolls under the bridge too? And,
yeah, we are. We're counting homeless, we're counting,
all right, just move on.
yes.
I don't know, this all, I understand what it is, but
Okay. I think, let's move on. That's census update, public defender wait list. Judge Beadham,
sorry, Judge, you
sir.
had to see that.
You know, I'm looking for instruction as well, what to do with the census. Well, I thank Sam for inviting us over here to talk about this issue. As you may know and may have read about in the paper, the Public Defender's Office has a wait list. And I have with me today, I've got Justin Carver, who's the district defender responsible for Cole County, among other counties. Behind him, I've got Ms. Mary Fox, who is the state public defender. So,
Bless you.
I'm sure she can answer any questions that you have that I can't. Anyhow, as a matter of context, I don't know that we've ever talked about this too much today. As of yesterday, we had 4,056 cases, criminal cases pending in Cole County. That's, the vast majority of those are gonna be misdemeanors, which Judge Walker handles, but he also touches almost all the felony cases. And there's probably 500 to 600 felony cases. So of Judge Walker's 3,400 cases, probably about 2,800 are misdemeanors. Then there are the felonies before they go to circuit court, and then Judge Green, Judge Joyce, and myself handle the felonies after they hit circuit court. So 4,000 cases pending, and these are numbers as of last week, and as Justin will tell you, to the extent you're interested, is this is a fairly fluid list, and some cases would come off today, and I think they had them done today, except for the person who manages the list has the flu. But there's 317 cases as of Friday afternoon on the public defender wait list. So that's about 7% of our docket. What does that mean? Well, it means when they come to court, I can't really arraign them because all their arraignment rights start with the date of arraignment, and so they lose a lot of rights if that clock starts running. If they don't have a lawyer, then they can't look at the discovery. Now they could themselves, but no one looks at the discovery, and then there's no one to answer the two important questions every criminal defendant I ever represented said was, what do they got on me and what am I looking at? Which are the two questions that lawyers in the criminal defense business are trained to do. They review the discovery, they have, based on their experience, what's going on there. So these cases sit, and we can't set them for trial, they just sort of sit. And so of the 318 cases, we've determined that 30 of them involve people who are in the jail, and that's 16 people, because people have multiple cases. So that's, as of Friday afternoon, this is what it looked like, and as of next Friday afternoon, it'll shift a little bit. But the prosecutor will keep filing more cases because we have more people who tend to break the law. So that's kind of what the public defender wait list is. It's cases beyond their capacity to take. They get a letter that says, congratulations, you qualify, which is basically economic status. And then we will put you on the wait list, and then when we get to you, we'll call you. Well, and they do it first come, first serve, which seems like a fair way to do that. And they also do it with who's in jail. Now, one of the byproducts of bond reform and pretrial release is we've got most of the poor people out of jail, and we have bad people in the jail. I think the sheriff will tell you that the kind of people we have in jail is a little more dangerous than it was, say, 2 years ago. But that's the context we're dealing with, and so I get to a docket, and I'll say, you know, Mr. Bushman, and I see that you're on the wait list. Have you heard anything from the public defender? Well, no. Well, there's nothing I can do with your case but continue it a little bit, you know, 30, 60. They do it at the first of the month, so continuing it for 2 weeks is not very efficient. So we just roll that case. So I've got, you know, 318 cases, 30 of which are in custody in Cole County, the rest of which are either in prison, and there's some of those cases, probably another 50 cases involving people who are currently in prison or in jail somewhere else, and the rest of these people are on release. I mean, the good thing is they're on release. The bad thing is we can't get to their case. And as long as the wait list starts with the in custody people, we never get to those. And so I have some people with some pretty significant criminal charges that we believe that they're safe in the community under the supervision and circumstances that they are, but I can't get to their case. And when you can't get to their case, their lives are on hold, and the lives of the victims of those crimes are on hold. So that's sort of the overview of the wait list issue. So it starts with the sheriff sends me an email and says, hey, have you looked at what Greene County's done? And what Greene County's commission did was stepped up, and I'm not saying this is the commission's job, I'm saying it's maybe the right thing to do. And they had entered into an arrangement with the public defender that I had to go through 3 or 4 different people to get exactly what it is, and I connected with Ms. Fox there, and I have it straight from Ms. Fox what they did. And Greene County contributed $25,000 to a fund which the public defender has to that can accept money, matched it with $25,000, and dedicated that $50,000 of new contract money. Now, you may not know the public defender has lawyers that work for the public defender, and they handle so many cases. They also contract out cases, and there's a schedule and a fixed fee and some things like that. And so what they did in Greene County was contributed to this. The public defender made a commitment. There's a written agreement. I think I sent a copy to Jill so she could kind of see how they did it in Greene County, and that they would commit to match that money and use those contract public defenders to work on the wait list. So that's sort of the proposal that we've got here today. To be a little bit more detailed, I talked to Ms. Fox, and she said that they would scrape and look at every nook and cranny they had for extra money, because I said this has got to be new money. This can't be existing money. If I want to ask the commission to help us with that. She thought that they could do it. My proposal is to do something like $10,000 before July 1, because the state's fiscal rolls on July 1, and then ask for $15,000 after July 1. I realize that's the same fiscal for you guys, but as far as the public defender, I think would increase the chances that they would be able to match that money. To put it into context, I think I figured out there was like 66 cases at a minimum that we could handle. We could get rid of the wait list, but this issue is going to be recurring until something else happens. So that's the short of it, except for the sheriff said, please don't take his money.
You're supposed to start with that.
Okay.
I'm good with it, sir.
Well, he kept saying, I'm gonna be here today, but be that as it may. So what the proposal would be is the public defender would match with new money in the contract pool, limited to Cole County, to contract with private lawyers to take the wait list cases. I've talked around to the guys who do this kind of work, and they were all interested in more contract work. The best thing about it is the first felony costs $750, but if you got a second one, it's only $375. So for those people who have many cases, they are a little bit more efficient to resolve. But that's what I have here today, and would glad to answer any questions, and I have backup if I can answer your question.
I think one of the questions I had, and we had talked about it earlier, was that if we get you all up to par and getting more stuff moved through, is the prosecutor gonna be able to keep up with it? Our detective's gonna be able to keep up with it? And you assured me that they'll be able to keep up. Right now, the strain is on.
Right now, this
public
is
defender.
where I'm stopped. You know, I'll have 75 cases on my docket, and I'll have about 10% of those cases I can't do anything with. So I don't think we are overwhelming the prosecutor's office now. I think we just get some more cases moved. And what we know, I mean, my experience, and I'm not a giant criminal defense lawyer, but is get a lawyer. What do they have? What am I looking at? We can generally generate a plea. The prosecutor's office, we had a meeting, Judge Walker, myself, Justin, and Scott Fox in the prosecutor's office, because Locke had to go somewhere else, and we looked at all the different little ways, you know, that we can work with this in terms of, are these crimes that there's no risk of jail in there? Could we coordinate some stuff? You know, we're trying not to, you know, prosecute probation violations on new charges without prosecuting the new charge unless that needs to be done for public safety. I mean, everybody came to the table and we brainstormed for about 2 hours one Friday afternoon, trying some stuff to do that would help. So I believe the prosecutor's office should be able to keep up.
Can we focus on the ones that we have sitting in jail waiting on it first?
That would be our proposal, is that the contract, and everybody's sitting here behind me saying they could do that. We're looking to contract for people who are on the wait list.
And that's 30 of them you said that are in.
I've got 16 people, and this is, the numbers are fluid, but you gotta remember, I've signed 4 warrants this morning. Okay, so the pool is, you know, the pool fills and drains at the same time. But we've got, you know, 30 cases, 16 people. That was the snapshot of Friday afternoon. You know, is this gonna make it go away? No, I think it's going to, I mean, it's a larger systemic problem there, but I think it will make us be able to move some cases, and certainly we don't want people sitting in jail with no lawyer. Now, the really good part about it is we look at the list, because of your support for pretrial release, because of Judge Walker, who works harder at this than anybody I know, you know, we've looked at all of these people, and if they are releasable, we've released them. I mean, I released a guy on GPS bracelet that, you know, we're doing okay on, but he's been there since September. You know, we had to look at something else to do that. But when we get, you know, so I think we're getting out just about everybody we can get out to the extent we can supervise them. And those are the, you know, the more risky people to put out. But
So if we give you 10,000 now, when you come back for July to ask for that, we're gonna see a big change.
I think you would
And
see
these-
that the wait list cases, I would like to believe that the age of the wait list would go down.
Okay.
Okay? I mean, you gotta remember, they keep putting new cases in. I signed 4 warrants this morning before I came over here. But I think we would be able to see, you know, pick up these cases so they're not as old and resolvable. I mean, if we have no new cases filing, absolutely, you should see some progress. You know, I still think it's gonna take 90 days, from the time you get in the case, to get it all resolved, to get it pled out.
So Justin, you're representing prisoners who are in the Missouri penal corrections as well?
Yes, sir.
I didn't know that.
Yes, sir. And there are a couple of ways that comes up. One is if I have a client in Cole County and in Miller County sends the person to the Department of Corrections, the Cole County case is remaining pending, you know, then it takes me some time to get the person back to court. The other thing that comes up is we do have 2 prisons in this county. Algoa Correctional Center, Jefferson City Correctional Center. We do represent people who are in prison and committed an offense while in prison. One of our judges just yesterday had a trial over a stabbing that occurred in, I can't remember if it was JCCC or Algoa. A few weeks before that, Judge Joyce had a trial on an attempted escape from prison. And so we do get people actually in the prison committing offenses while they're there.
And as a general rule, if you're in prison, you got no income, they're gonna
Yeah,
qualify for the
yeah.
public defender.
So how many attorneys do you have with the public defenders?
Well, that's a fluid number. We have 8. One is now on military leave. And so effectively, I cannot assign him any cases. He's going to be gone until December. The agency had given me the permission to kind of fill that position while he's out. We're hiring. It's a terrible time of year to hire lawyers because all the May law school graduates who passed the bar in September, they've all got jobs at this point.
And how many counties do you represent?
Cole, Miller, and Montauk.
So,
Yeah.
But we're talking about Cole's wait
there's
list.
some- yes.
Right.
Yeah, we're not talking about Miller County's problem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But to give a little context, if I could, when I look at the people who are in Cole County Jail on the wait list, I see some names of some people who have been in there for 4 and 5 months, just sitting on the wait list waiting on a lawyer. And so, as Judge was saying, there's been 0 work done on those cases, and there won't be any work started on the legal side in terms of the courtroom side until we can get them a lawyer assigned.
I don't disagree. I think this is a problem. As I was at our commissioner training, I visited with presiding commissioner Bob Dixon and some of the other commissioners from Greene County. And so keep in mind that they just passed a $150 million bond issue to build a brand new 1,200 bed justice facility. So when they're throwing $25,000 at something, it's kind of a drop in the bucket for them. They have 700 people in their jail right now, and I don't know how many people they have that are housed elsewhere. And so their jail population is out of control.
Yeah, one time we housed some of theirs.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're the ones that also had the temporary pods down there in the containers. Still do? Yeah. I mean, to me, as I look at it, and, obviously getting the people out of jail, I think is important. But when I look at 2,800 people on misdemeanors, that's almost 75% of the total population. I mean, I would think that we'd be able to try to get rid of those cases so that we could.
Well, very few, the vast majority of people in jail are not in jail on misdemeanors.
Right.
Okay? They have a risk of jail, and so constitutionally, they're entitled to a lawyer. I mean, the people that we have in jail are, people on felony charges, and like I said, 30 cases, 16 people, they got at least 2 cases apiece that are out there. When you look at the whole list, I think you could probably answer better than me in terms of what part of your list is felony, what part of your list is misdemeanors. I mean, we're looking at other things for the misdemeanors. We'll be talking to the bar later this month about looking at the misdemeanors. I'm just talking about the felony people that are, that are in jail, that, need that part of it.
So the ones that aren't in jail, there's a high probability that they're on pretrial release, and they're having to supervise them guys.
Well,
So it not only keeps them, kind of clears up the spots in jail, but relieves some of the pressure on our pretrial.
But at the same time, their case isn't going anywhere. Okay, I got a guy out. He's on pretrial release. He's on GPS monitoring because he has affinity towards weapons, and he doesn't like his ex-wife very much. And
But they're still calling him every day.
Right, she comes to speak with him.
So-
He comes to speak with her unless we monitor that situation. And so he's on house arrest on GPS. So he's not in jail, but I'm not getting anything done with his case. It would be our hope that we got the wait list down So the new cases the public defender can take the first of the month will include some of those people who are on the streets. I've got 2 people who have been accused of really bad things. We believe that they're not a danger to safety. Our experience with these people, because of the nature of the offenses, are such, we believe that the community is safe with them on the streets, but their case is going nowhere. And their victims aren't receiving any justice. They just sort of idle there. So, it would be our hope that we reduce knock out the wait list. The less cases there are on the wait list that are in custody, then the more chances there are that you could pick up a wait list case on a not in custody.
So if we're gonna focus on the felonies, we're just kicking the misdemeanors, they just keep kicking them down the road and we're not ever doing anything with them?
With your permission, Commissioner?
Yeah.
In looking at the 16 people the judge identified as being in the Cole County Jail, I can look at my list and see that 2 of them have misdemeanor charges, but in both instances, they also have bigger, more serious felony charges. And so the people that are in jail right now on our wait list for services, there's no one on that list who has just 1 misdemeanor case, and that's all they have. I can think of a person who, at least very recently, was in the Cole Jail on a misdemeanor and nothing else. It was a highly unusual situation with like severe mental health issues, and it was a problem. We got to find a place for this person to go because they can't be in the community.
Sure.
And so I think that the concern that you have, it's a well-founded concern. It's a legitimate concern. Typically, if we've got people in there on misdemeanors, it's because there's also some bigger, more serious problems. It's kinda what I'm seeing.
So I guess the clarification is you're not necessarily representing the people that are out on misdemeanors
They're probably all waitlisted for services if they qualify.
for other attorney services or what
Yes, sir.
may not qualify for the public defender.
Well, you're right. It's harder to qualify for a public defender on a misdemeanor than it is a felony.
I see.
Because we've
Okay.
got to look at how much money it would take to hire a lawyer in misdemeanor.
Sure.
We do have people who are qualified on a misdemeanor and they're sitting on a wait list. And,
Okay.
yeah.
And the other thing I just bring up is if we're able to adjudicate these cases, not only does it save space in my jail, but it also saves pretrial release space. Because if the case is adjudicated, they won't be turned over to pretrial release. So it's actually better for pretrial release and me if we're able to do something like this.
So you'll be able to backfill with more federal prisoners.
No, we're gonna stay at the amount we're at right now. It's not going up any higher. 51 is the magic number for me.
Any other information I could give you? Like I said, it's probably not a legal obligation of the county, but it is a practical solution. Greene County did it, in my understanding, Greene County justified it entirely on days in jail. They just reduced the number of days in jail that people were in jail. And since nobody makes money on people who are in jail, some of these people are the same thing. I mean, we work these lists, I went over it and every week I go over my list and who I've got in jail and do they absolutely positively have to be in jail, which is not really the way you'd like to approach this question. But, we look at it, it's just that we can't get any done with the cases. And it's 7% of the dockets, and I think it's disproportionately felons.
I'm not crazy about it because I think it's a state's problem, but at the same time, sometimes you gotta help yourself. And in this instance, that's where I see it, is we're helping ourselves. And I really think we're helping the state too, in the long run.
Well,
So,
I think you're right. I think we're helping the citizens, and I know that's what you
well,
guys are
they're
about.
getting a little quicker, maybe not necessarily a trial, but they're getting through the court system a little quicker. And let's get it taken care of, figure out, let them get on with their lives and.
I think what that article said from Greene County was they were able to adjudicate these cases a lot faster because they were able to assign counsel. So I think the process will speed up. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so.
I mean, the vast majority of criminal cases are resolved by plea anyway. But to get to the plea, you gotta have the information, and the assessment of the case, and to do that properly, you're gonna have to have a lawyer. And so, I just think we'd get these cases closer, you know.
It will put more work on judicial, which I'm okay with.
Well, I'm like Joe, I wish there was state money or
Well-
court money that could do this, but,
Well, and like I said, the commitment, and I got Ms. Fox here, their commitment was they would find money for this need, so we're not going it alone, it's your dollar buys $2. Your felony buys $2.
so if we do it for a year and see,
I
we see
just
a
think-
big change,
I just think if, you know, we did it, we would track those cases, so we could tell you what those dispositions look like, and, you know, we could come back in and then did we need to fine tune something else like that? But what I know is somebody who's, I mean, first thing, leaving somebody in jail for months without a lawyer is not a good thing, at the very least, and, we think we could get some of these cases resolved if these people got lawyers. And then, you know, we're looking at other options, particularly at the misdemeanor side. But like I said, what we're talking about here are primary felonies.
When you start with felonies, I want you to look at it.
Yeah. Anyhow, that's, like
So
I said,
then, today you're looking for 10,000, and then come July 1st, we'd have to see if public defender can come up with another 15, and then we'd have to decide on our 15 to match, right?
right,
If I may, Commissioner, July 1st is less problematic because July 1st is when we would receive our additional funding. And within that funding is money to contract out cases. And I support what Judge Beadham says in that we have the limited money to contract out cases, but by doing this, you're getting double the amount for your jurisdiction. And I think I'm impressed the sheriff brought this issue to the court's attention because I think it was a great thing that Greene County did and has a significant positive effect on their jail down there and jailers.
our sheriff's not as dumb as he looks.
I didn't mean to imply that.
I don't know if that was a good compliment or not. That was- Sam said that.
I know, well,
Red Corvette, I'll remember.
I had hoped to be here with us today, Kathy Lear. She wanted to make certain that she was here, but we're also currently in a House budget meeting up the street, trying to get additional funds, so.
So we think with the additional money, we would do approximately 33 cases? Is that what I heard you say?
I mean, it depends on what we're talking about. We're talking about the 50, I think we calculated that was like 66 cases at a minimum. And because second and subsequent cases are half price under the public defender contracting system, it could be more than that. In many of these cases, people have more than one charge. I mean, originally when we've talked about this and when we brainstormed about any different way we could do that, you know, St. Louis has got a program where they've got 2 lawyers that do nothing but talk to people at court and kind of give them plea information. They don't really represent them in the fullest sense of the word. And they're looking at it just for getting people out of jail. We're not having the problem of getting people out of jail. I mean, Judge Walker works that docket hard. You know, if these people can be qualified for, under community safety issues, to be released, he's getting it done. So that part of this, we're doing through the court system. But this way, they have a fund that's set up that can accept the money. Okay, their commitment is, this is new dollars that Cole County would not get, but for this match.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm not, you know, they're not spending the money twice. And we think it would, you know, make a dent in the list. Exactly how long it takes, I'm not really sure. But I think we could be able to track it and,
so if we do it for 1 year, we're gonna see,
I think you would be able to see something. I just don't have a handle on what it would be. I would like to believe that, you know, it's less cases on the wait list. But if, you know, we get back into, and we're at 500, 550 felonies pending, you know, which is down from a couple of years ago. I would think that we would see a diminished wait list.
And we have requested funds to handle the cases on the wait list. It was not It comes to about 3 million across the state to handle all the cases on the wait list. It was not recommended by the governor, and it was not put into the budget by the subcommittee so far. We still have to go to the Senate and conference committees. But we requested those funds. We've not yet been successful in obtaining them. But this could be an example to the legislature for next year as to the value of handling the cases on the wait list in terms of the cost to the counties for the jailing.
I think you're gonna see that across the board on everything. They're doing that with roads and bridges and stuff like that too. So they're trying to stretch their money by asking the communities to put in some. And I mean, actually, we've done that with the small communities
Mhm.
grant, so it's kind of coming to that and help yourself.
Are you want to go that year, or you just want to wait till you use the money after
I mean, I'd like to see us do, I mean, the 10,000.
Yeah.
And then see a report prior to July 1 on where that's gotten us.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we can reevaluate then.
Okay.
God, Justin, I gave you more parking.
I appreciate it, thank you.
You did?
And they're out there selling it,
you
they're
know.
out there selling it, you know.
Yeah, we gave him,
Thursday.
we're letting them park over there in the 209.
And you gave them that?
When I first met him, he was complaining about parking, so, yeah.
Did you wave your magic wand?
Yeah, I did.
Parking space strategy. Anyhow, if you've got no other questions, we'll let you get back to business. We appreciate the time and consideration. I think the fact that Ms. Fox came over here today indicates that for not only the interest, but the
Thank you.
commitment of the public defender.
I appreciate you trying to bring it to our attention, and John, wow.
You really are as dumb as you look.
I didn't say that.
Did you send it to all the
That's fine.
Thank you all.
Sounds good. Thank you,
Thanks for
Justin.
coming.
Just
Thank you,
teasing,
Mrs. Fox.
John.
Yeah.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks.
Yeah, actually, I go to Green County then.
All right, what else we got?
I don't know. I think,
Their agreement.
do we,
Is that it?
yeah, do we have anything else?
You better go check your car. It's probably gonna have a dent in it. Or maybe more than a dent. You might just ram it.
Hey, wait till I'm out in my Corvette.
So the next week's meeting is Thursday.
On Thursday, yes.
Okay, and then the other meeting we moved is in April though. So everything else
Right,
is.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate that. My son's got a track meet that day. It's all day, I guess, so anyway.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right, I move we stand in recess till 4:30.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
This is a tornado alarm coming over our phones now.